This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right, All About Home Construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Good morning, Randy.
Morning, Terry, and everybody out there.
That's it. Happy Saturday, apparently.
Yep.
And so thanks for all, thanks for listening. It's a good week. So
hey, we're growing.
We're
on
growing.
Facebook.
We're getting bigger, and we appreciate all of our listeners, especially those new listeners. Well, we appreciate our old listeners as well. So
Correct.
Thank you all. And moving on up in the world. So thank you so much. And just keep those questions and comments coming in. We really appreciate them. So, well, how's the world of Randy Blake been?
Well, just like normal, just working.
Working man.
Well, I have no choice.
Hadn't won the lottery yet, have you?
No, I doubt I'm going to win the lottery.
Yeah.
I try at least once every 6 months to buy a lottery ticket.
I hadn't ever bought a lottery ticket, so my chances of winning are probably about the same as yours.
Well, if you don't buy, if you don't try and buy. So I look at it like this. I'm supporting people that don't have any money.
There you go.
But, I got tired of everybody from California and up north winning it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So, in parts of the states that has big wages.
Well, maybe one day you'll win. But until then, just keep working, man.
But congratulations to all of them.
That's it. So, good stuff happening. You guys, Memorial Day weekend, you guys at the VFW have Memorial Day plans.
Yeah, hamburgers and hot dogs.
Nice. What better thing than to spend the Memorial Day at the VFW?
And there's no charge for it. We do take donations though.
A couple years ago when we did that show, that was one of the most fun things I've done for Memorial Day. Just coming over there and just talking to all these people. It was a cool time.
And they appreciated it.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank everybody that came out for steak night.
Steak, it went well. It looks like you sold out. You said.
No, we didn't sell out, but we didn't like much because, believe it or not, I had somebody come in on Sunday and say I want to buy 4 raw salmon and 10 raw steaks, so I only have 2 steaks left.
Sweet.
So.
And you didn't cook any for me this morning.
Nope.
You could. There's a grill. There used to be a grill out back. Maybe we can fire it up after the show.
Well, one thing we did too was we had hamburgers for the kids.
Yeah.
And we even had chicken nuggets.
Nice.
But we never had a kid. We had kids that came in and bought steaks.
That's cool.
Their parents bought them a steak.
Hey, my kids like steak. They always have, so I get it.
And then we had one guy call in and said, "Can my daughter eat McDonald's chicken nuggets?" I said, "Well, come on in." I mean,
we're not being stingy, right?
No, not at all.
Well, that's cool.
But we had enough help that it just went smooth as can be.
Good.
And I really enjoy it when it's like that instead of hectic.
Well, that's it. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, especially a great way to kick off. This weekend's essentially, for most people, this is summer, right? This is the summer weekend. It starts the summer vacations. And so, it's a great way to kind of end the spring season for you guys is, go a great steak dinner and everything went well. So I'm glad.
Well, last winter we did barbecue and brisket.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we run out of brisket about 2 hours before
Nice.
the time was up. We had a lot of people complaining about that. But I really didn't know how to figure it.
Sure.
So I go today, and I'm buying the brisket for this next dinner. We'll be
Nice.
barbecue and brisket. So
I like brisket. For me, barbecue, I love barbecue. And I like brisket too, but I like barbecue better, so I always choose that instead of brisket.
well, I'll tell you what, they did a fantastic job with the brisket.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Then in July, they'll be doing an Italian meal.
Woohoo.
Then I'll be back in August.
All right, back in August. Got to love it.
And I've had a request for more fish and oysters.
No thanks. I'll stick with steak.
Yeah, I can't do it all.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad. Again, though, if you're listening to us on Saturday morning, you can come over to the VFW on Memorial Day on Monday and go.
I think it starts at 12.
Okay, cool. So yeah, definitely come by and check it out. It's worth it. It's a good time.
Yes, it is.
So and the memorial wall there too. Don't forget that. I mean, it's.
Well, we're gonna have Chuck Wright on sometime because now they're doing a fundraiser. They've not got all the bugs worked out of it, where they're gonna sell bricks.
Nice.
To veterans that goes on the memorial.
That's awesome.
Okay, and so anybody that is a veteran in Watauga County or any family member that had a past veteran, now they can buy a brick to go on the memorial.
Awesome.
And if they run out of room on the memorial, then they'll start bricking the drive.
Just keep on bricking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of veterans from Watauga County.
That's it. Well, cool. Well, getting back in all about home construction, we heard from our friend Matt, who's called a few times talking about the house. I got to talk to him a little bit over the last week and ran into him. And the house is coming along good. He sent me some pictures here, and it looks like the power situation, the box he was talking about, I think he figured it all out. But I think there was, like always, there's some issues with the building inspector when you have an old house and bringing things up to code. But
most people don't realize it, that once you go past a dollar amount or a percentage of the house, state code requires after 51% in a remodel, that house to be brought totally up to code.
And that doesn't matter if you are a homeowner doing it yourself or a contractor doing it for someone.
Correct.
Like, I mean, if you go to that threshold, you have to get a permit, regardless of who you are.
No. You have to have a permit.
I mean, bring it up to code. Sorry, that's what I meant.
You have to have a permit. Now, anything structural has to have a permit. Mm-hmm. Replacing floors, flooring, cabinets, siding, windows, and stuff like that. As long as it don't cross 40,000, you do not need a permit.
Right.
But once you touch anything with electric, you have to have a permit. What's been told to us is that if you have a house that burns down and they find that somebody that did the electric that was not licensed and it failed, then your insurance will not cover it.
Yeah. Okay. Oof, that's a big one. Yeah. So
I belong to a group on Facebook, and they're going, "How long do you say he was an electrician?"
Yeah.
Firing wire nets inside the walls and stuff like that.
I love seeing those funny videos and pictures. It's like, I'm not even an electrician, and I could do a better job than that.
Oh yeah.
I saw a funny one the other day where they had built a deck on the back of the house. It wasn't a very large deck, maybe 10 by 8 or something, and apparently the handrail was at the window. In other words, like it overlapped a window a little bit. And so they decided to move the deck over. Well, to move the deck over, they basically just shifted it over, left all 4 posts the same.
And they're crooked?
Yeah, and so the one end of it, the right end of it, is 16 inches just hanging over, and the other one is just barely on the edge of the 4x4. And then on the house, when they put the band over there, first of all, of course, there was no flashing, as you would expect, but it was only held in with like 2 or 3 lag bolts. They look like lag, but some kind of bolts, but 2 or 3 bolts is all it was holding it in. And it was just like, but it was funny because they wedged everything, where they pieced it together, and then it was great. It was great. So.
Well, there's another one, so your homeowner's insurance pay for that.
Yeah, when that falls and crushes people.
Well, I had that question the other day about a deck, attaching it to a modular. Yes, you can attach a deck to a modular. No, you cannot a mobile home.
Right.
Mobile home deck's got to be freestanding. But you cannot use aluminum flashing.
Why not aluminum?
Because the treated lumber will
because, okay.
And, I've even seen, now when I was a kid, aluminum flashing was so thick, it's all you could do to bend it.
Right.
Take 2 2x4s and beat one over.
Mm-hmm.
And
now you just look at it.
Yeah, around 2011, I seen some of that real thick aluminum on a deck from the 70s, and believe it or not, it started to erode that way.
Okay.
And but you have to go with galvanized flashing. And just to have an angle flashing on your deck is not correct.
Okay.
You have to protect the band behind you.
That way it's water's able to shed all the way off, not just
Correct.
pull up at the top.
And I think I'm not so sure on this, but think about the guy drilling the holes for the bolts that attaches to the house, because we always had to use 5/8 bolts.
Yep.
All right. We went through the time when we could use lags.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Lags penetration would go right through the flashing, or you might have to drill a small pilot hole and then go on through. But when you go at 5/8 bolts, then you're drilling 11/16 or a 3/4 inch hole to get your bolt through.
Okay.
All right. Now, if anything happens above, like a door threshold or a window that's not flashed correctly, now that water can come back down behind the siding and run through the hole and start dry rotting your band.
Yeah.
So North Carolina said, no, this is what we're going to do.
Okay. Nice.
And, then 2006, they outlawed lag bolts, so we had to go totally.
Right.
And then I also had a phone call about, well, you can use lags as long as the engineer signs off on the amount of glue. Now, why do you want to pay an engineer
to save? Yeah,
you can put glue in.
Yeah, I'm going to save a few dollars, but then I'm going to spend it a lot more than that on the engineer. So.
And everything is a cost item. Yeah. I mean, there's a craft there for everything you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you think about cost though of a deck, and I don't mean to keep on decks here, but a freestanding deck isn't that much different cost-wise, is it?
Well, no, all decks have to have diagonals.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. By the time you brace everything up and you figure in the band, it's just you're buying different pieces of lumber.
Well, you'll have concrete and post in it.
Yeah.
Okay, because
that's what I mean. Yeah.
My personal preference on a deck is not to go over 8 feet to a post. Mm-hmm. So I like my decks to be in at 8, 16, 20 foot.
Right.
And then that way your railings, everything fits in
matches.
Good.
You don't have to worry about. Yeah.
We've had a lot of decks over the years where we've seen that they put post at 10 foot.
Yep.
Okay. So you have to piece it all.
Yeah.
All right. Every 10 foot you got to put it because they don't make a 2x6 20 foot long.
I never understood why they didn't make 2x4s or 6s in increments of 10 feet.
So
but that's done.
We've done jobs to repair deck railings that are 30 foot off the ground, and that's how the railing is.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to switch up to a 2x10 or a 2x12 that you rip down to go on top of that to cover that 20 foot section.
Yeah.
And I've seen people that notches their post and put them on, and then a 2-inch notch is not really now this is my opinion, but a 2-inch, leaving 2 inches out of it in a 6x6 and bolt to your band is not enough meat.
Right.
To hook to your band.
You're really relying on not a lot of space to hold up a lot of weight.
So correct, and a 2.5 works fine. And that gives you a little meat, and we still bolt them on.
But you also don't crank the bolt all the way down. I mean, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people over tighten it and sink the bolt into the wood.
Bolt head, yes. No, we don't want to do that, but we have gone back. Maybe a couple of weeks later and double check them as it dries out and stuff to make sure that they're torqued down.
Yeah, but I guess my point is I see a lot of people where it's just, it's almost drilled a hole itself through the wood where they've cranked it down so much.
I've seen them where they flush them to that. Mm-hmm. Well, I was trained to do that, and I said, well, okay, how long you been in business? I've not been.
Yeah.
And to me, aesthetics is just as important as structurability.
Well, you're a 2x whatever is only 1.5 inches anyway, and so when you compress it, and now you're relying on what 3/4, maybe 1/2 inch.
Well, it depends on how far you compress.
But I mean, if you sink it all the way in.
But I've also had guys out here that only build a single band on a deck.
Mm-hmm.
I have never done a deck with a single band.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody up there, but if you build a single band on your deck, do you have enough liability insurance to cover it if that deck falls?
Right.
And the reason I say that is let's say I build a deck for Terry, and now his daughters graduated high school, and they're going to have 30 kids out there
Right.
on that deck, and it's not designed for 30 kids, and it falls.
Yep.
All right. Because everybody,
right.
everybody knows about Beach Mountain. Beach Mountain used to you have a 16-foot deck on a 4x4.
Yeah.
And I remember going back in late 90s, early 2000s, and those decks that were built in the 70s were still there with the single, but they were good treated lumber.
Right.
But also they were yellow pine and they were bowing pretty bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I'll tell you what, Randy. Let's take a break. We'll come right back right after this. Thanks for listening to us. Are you ready to level up your home construction game? Obviously, you've subscribed to All About Home Construction. Now we would like to ask you for some support. You can be like Dave, Bill, and Skipper and help support All About Home Construction. The links are in the show notes. That's right, All About Home Construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there, both near and far on the podcast. Again, share it with your friends. Let other people know about it. We appreciate it moving on up in the world, and we appreciate all of you out there. And don't forget Memorial Day weekend. So happy Memorial Day. We appreciate all of those veterans and what Memorial Day means, and we appreciate that, so that we can sit here on a Saturday morning and talk about construction. And appreciate that. So, speaking of Memorial Day, the VFWs we mentioned, hot dogs, hamburgers.
Yep. French
fries on Memorial Day. So go check that out here in Boone.
Yep.
So,
I think they're going to do the memorial at 12.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. And like I said, a couple years ago when I went, was it 2 years ago now? And it was
2 or 3.
2 or 3. But anyway, it was definitely a good time. I need to get back out there. But all right. Well, getting back into All About Home Construction, and this topic is one of those that we get asked a lot of questions, and I know not just from the show. You as a contractor get asked a lot of questions, and one of those questions, and that always comes up, is something to the effect of, "Hey, what will it cost to blah blah blah?" Right?
Yep.
And that's there's always not an easy answer anyway.
No, there's not. And I'm pricing the house out now, and they give me a house, and they show the furniture, and they show the bathrooms, the kitchen, but there is no call outs on the plans for nothing else.
Right.
Okay. Now, there's a big difference between melamine cabinets than there is hardwood cabinets.
Right.
Okay. There's a big difference between carpet and hardwoods, which you know that.
Right.
And
well, even other, I mean, even inside of, it's hardwood floors. Even inside of that, you've got anything from pine to, Brazilian walnut or something. That you can go from $2 a foot to $20 a foot.
Well, in the late 80s, I seen no sound toilets that cost over $600.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so as a homeowner, what is your expectations?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What do you want? So, what I probably need to do is put that book up that I give the homeowners now to tell me what they want, because they hired somebody to do their plans that didn't put anything on it for us to bid on.
Right.
And if you have an 8-foot block wall behind your house that's got to have backfill on it, that wall's got to be poured concrete.
Right.
That's not on the plans. All right. So what I did was I sat here doing some reading, and these are, now in 2000, a house cost between $125 and $150 a square foot.
Okay.
All right. And the national average in 2006 was $659,945. That same house is $659,945 now is $1,072,663. Okay? So we did a show. We've done a couple of shows on plywood, when we went through the COVID era.
Yep.
Excuse me. And where we watched $21 3/4-inch plywood go all the way to $98. Advantech was $98. Well, a few weeks ago, I think I said it was
50 something, yeah.
a sheet.
Yeah.
All right, so that sort of kind of exceeds the cost of $21. And
well, and we had this debate, and I don't think there's still an answer for this, but we said this back 4 years ago. If it costs $90 right now, obviously the price of the house is going to go up. So this $300,000 house is probably now going to cost you, $600,000. What's the value of the house? Because it's a $300,000 valued house, even though it didn't cost you that to build it.
well, North Carolina, when I had the class last year, a couple years ago, they raised the limitations from a limited license from $500,000 to $750,000.
Okay.
Because they could not build a regular house
For $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that most people don't take into consideration, Terry, I don't know how much a school teacher makes, but they make more than a carpenter does.
Right. Wow. Ain't much.
And
Yeah. Well,
so as a rule of thumb, if you're going to pay a guy $25 an hour, you have to charge 2.5% more to cover his insurances and stuff like that.
Right, and even the guy making minimum wage, or you hire. It's summertime, right? And we hire these kids out, and we're giving them $12-15 an hour. It's costing you as a boss, as an owner, it's costing you a lot more than $15 for an hour for that.
Correct.
You're paying $15 to that kid, but you're also paying money over here to insurance and workman's comp.
Correct. So as a rule of thumb, if you pay a guy $25 an hour, you need to charge $62.50.
Yep.
To cover your insurances. All right.
Insurance kills you. And that's not always counting, too. I mean, I know this is part of doing business, and this isn't necessarily the homeowner's fault, but, that there is, I cut this board too short, and now I've got an extra board. I got to buy. And there is some of that cost of business overhead, I guess, is where I'm trying to go with that.
Correct. And, pre-hung doors. Pre-hung doors went from about $98, maybe $85, $98.
Right.
In 2000. Then they went all the way up to nearly $300 a door. Now they're back down to about $250.
Okay. Well, speaking of pre-hung doors, there's quite a difference in the doors. Is it a hollow core? Is it a solid core door?
Correct.
But I think, too, even just renovations, I've seen where they've got a 6-inch wall, but they get a pre-hung door that's only 4 inches. And so now you've got this weird little gap that they fill with some kind of trim just to hide the end of the drywall. But I guess that kind of goes back to what I'm saying. What we're talking about is that you got to have all the details before you can price out, because there's a big difference between a door that's 4 inches and 6 inches.
Correct. It's
pre-hung,
4 9/16, 6 and 6 and 5/16. But the doors we bought in 2000 was American lumber. Okay. And, the American lumber, even though it was American lumber, it was still a veneer product, so it could be sawdust behind or anything. But then we come in later on, around 2006, and we had a product called radiator pine.
Yes.
All right, radiator pine comes out of South America because it's cheaper for them to cut those trees down, make a veneer out of it, and ship it to the United States and make it. We also had transition from wood to steel.
Yep.
In the 90s, and because the wood door was getting so expensive.
Yeah.
And I did an estimate in 2009 in a house that had water damage that had the $199 fir doors in it. I'm getting all the way back into to the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Well, for me to replace that fir door in that time period was nearly $800 because it's made out of fir.
Yeah.
As the construction materials got less and less in the United States, then, they had to outsource it. To give you an idea, one of the best windows you can buy is Anderson.
Right.
All right. Anderson was made out of ponderosa pine because it was a straight pine tree with no knots in it.
Right.
What happens when you have knots in pine? twist.
Doo-doo. That's also the weak point.
Yep. And,
See them break.
So that also led Marvin, Anderson, to start making synthetic jams and stuff.
Well, and that again, that's when the plans went. So when I ask you, hey, what does it cost to build my house? There's a difference in that, and that's just one example. Another example, right? A window. Well, what window do you want? Because that could change quite a bit of money.
What a big one that people don't think about. What is your altitude?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We've done several shows on wind DP rating the windows.
Well, climate in general too, right?
Yeah.
Especially here in the mountains where we're, are you on top of the mountain? And altitude's part of that, but, if you're on the edge of the mountain where you're getting all the wind, it's going to be a little different than if you're in a little bit. I mean, I know wind loads and regulations. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, it's going to feel different. It's going to act different.
Well, the wind 200 foot underneath the crest is stronger than it is on top.
Right. And if you're on the river, foggy mornings, setting in, or you're near the lake, even in the mountains, we got lakes, and some of our listeners may be beside another lake, and that climate is going to be different than even a mile away or 2 miles away.
Correct.
And so all of those factors in with the conditions, factor in with the house, and wood moves, and so if you're living beside the lake against it, you're probably going to have more moisture, and you're going to more likely have more humidity than if you backed off the lake a mile away. And so all of that plays into but the materials that you should consider buying. And
well, now you take houses that are in the 150 mile an hour wind load.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to have shear walls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I've never built one at that high altitude.
Right.
But see, a lot of window companies now, I've put DB50 windows in before.
Okay.
Now that was probably 10 years ago, but now they've come out with DB60 windows for those higher altitudes.
Wow.
And I don't know how many frozen chickens and two-by-fours they have to shoot at it.
I would like to do that job for a day. Wouldn't that be fun for a day?
Well, get on the internet and watch them when they do, because every window and door company out there has to be Dade County certified.
Yeah, and then when they have the even the walls, right? Like some of those wall systems and stuff. I've seen those where they're shooting a 2x4 rocket basically through a wall and seeing
it's an air cannon. What
yeah,
it is.
It's cool. It's cool. So,
but costs are going to continue to go up, and golly, they're really going to go up now that all those tornadoes hit out west.
Yeah.
And destroyed those towns. And I don't know if I've ever built a house strong enough to withstand what I've seen in some of those.
I mean, aside from a concrete bunker, what can you do?
Well, there's a company in Texas that's building a total home out of ICFs.
Yep. Which is, I said this years ago. If I had the money, when you win that lottery, you're gonna build me a house with that.
And the ICFs also are on the roof, so the walls are concrete and the roof's concrete.
Yep.
So
it's a bunker. It's great,
and it is. And
I need an air cannon and a bunker, Andy.
Remember a few years ago when that hurricane hit Florida, and they said, "Here's a 250 mile an hour house that didn't even phase it."
Oh, yep. Well, but so. What is the number one thing that you see in terms of big eyes and little, I guess, research of price? In other words, what is it? Because back we were talking about 2006. When the prices and things really changed, and I think in the American industry in general, right, 2006 through 10. It was a big, the bubble whole thing, but there was a lot of building going on. So there was a lot of evolution, I think, not just in materials, but in codes and ways to do things. It seems like there was a good stretch there where there was just a lot of innovation in that little stretch.
Well, the class we had was in 2006. there was 5 million homes that hadn't sold in the United States, and that's what really caused the housing crunch.
Well, but it used to be, and we've both been in this situation where they have a magazine. They saw this cool house or this cool room. This is what I want.
Yeah.
And we don't have the magazines anymore because everything's digital. Well, we still get the same thing basically, right? How many times do we get, oh, look at this video or look at that movie, or this TV show? Like, I loved this product I saw. And all of those things, again, you have to factor into the cost. What would you say is the area, I guess, of that's most overlooked for as far as a homeowner wanting something but not knowing what it costs?
All of it, because they don't take into consideration what labor costs, what insurance costs, and how codes are, because nobody knows what codes are but the contractor.
Right.
All right. And then, one of the biggest things out there is HGTV really hurts a lot of contractors because everybody watches HGTV knows what a contractor knows. Mm-hmm. All right. But you take like we talked about, when you lived down in Triplet, you were during that time, you were in a 90-mile-an-hour wind load. Yep. All right. You could put a vinyl window in. When you go to Beech Mountain at 5,600 feet, you can't put a vinyl window in.
Right.
You got to go with aluminum-clad wood window. Mm-hmm. And, or like Eagle Windows come out with a 60.
Yeah.
That was aluminum window, frames and all. And right as they finished making it, they cut out aluminum channel in it, and it had a 1/2-inch rubber gasket in it, so the window could buff it,
right,
to keep from shaking the glass.
That's cool. That's cool. So how do we fix this? I hate to use the word ignorance because I think it gets a negative connotation. A lot of people think I'm calling names, but just the lack of knowledge, the lack of knowing. Like, how do we fix this with the with the homeowners to the contractors? Like, what do we do to kind of bridge that gap?
Well, all homeowners know what they want. Mm-hmm. All right, but they need to look closer about what they want for the pennies.
Right.
But as far as me buying at Lowe's or buying at New River or Three Rivers or Watauga Building Supply, I don't buy from Lowe's. I'm sorry.
Right.
All right. But the point of it is they're all within 5 to 8% of in a
sure.
cost. And if the homeowner can't absorb 3%, then something's wrong.
Right.
Because I go who's got the best materials, okay? But
yeah. Well,
let's go with a decking board, okay? An 8-foot decking board. All right. Now everybody knows yellow pine treated decking,
mm-hmm.
and it. I'm working on the price now. Sorry about that. So they go anywhere from $598 to $1198.
Yeah.
All right. Then if you need severe weather, now this is on a low side, it goes between $938 and $1868.
Yeah.
All right. Now you can put that down with a nail, but you need a double dip galvanized nail because of the treatment.
Right.
So now you've got to buy a box of nails that's going to cost $90.
Yeah.
All right. And that's gun nails. That's not a box
right
of hand drives, okay?
Yeah.
So now let's go back to Trex decking. Well, I want Trex decking. And a lot of people don't know that Trex can come in 20-foot sections.
Right.
Okay. So now you get out of the realm of that cheap price.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now your synthetic decking goes from $34 for a 16-foot board to $93 for a 20-foot board.
Wow. Yeah. Big difference.
All right. Now that is the edge band.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, they go in because you don't want to kill your edges out.
Right.
And so then you drop back, and I really don't like the Trex decking where it's got the hollow parts in it. I like the solid. And a 20-foot board is $52. All right. So That's a big cost. But there you go again. Well, I want a deck. Well, now the decking companies want you to use tape that goes on top of your floor joists, which is an added cost to it. And now there's two ways of looking at it. At a 2-foot deck, it's not too hard to tape your deck. All right, on a 6-foot deck, it's hard to tape your deck.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make a difference. It goes from 6 to 20 foot. You still have to be careful. All right. So now, once you cross 6 foot in height, you're required to wear a harness.
Yeah.
All right.
And so now you got to hook up safety gear.
That's right.
To get it. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that people.
Well, but even the cheaper options of wood decking, you know, like when you're building a new deck, you got to treat it with something. You got, you know, so even that, you know, I saved this money by putting in this cheaper wood over the Trex.
Well,
but now I got to put some stain on it.
Yes, you do.
You know, and so even that, like, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there's so many factors, right? It's like, I mean, it's like baking a cake, right? You can bake a cake and not put eggs in it, but is it going to taste as good as a cake that you put eggs in?
Correct. So, and see, that price on the Trex deck was the lowest price. Some of the top end Trex, a 20-footer will go up to $144. And so it starts at $86. It tops out at $144. But you're correct about the treated.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've had Appalachian pressure washing on before, and you really can't stain your deck till it dries out.
Yeah. But
you need to stain your deck if you're going to have a wood deck.
Yep. Well, again, another cost that just has to be factored in to the overall cost thing. So we'll take another break. We'll come right back right after this. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies, such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks so much for all of our listeners out there. And happy Memorial Day. I guess we can say it is summer.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's summertime. I'm going to kick back at the pool.
A little wet.
You know, get some sunscreen going on, get my tan on.
Just make sure lightning don't hit you.
Yeah, that's my problem. You see my white legs out in the middle of the beach,
well,
too.
I'm still in pants.
Put your sunglasses back on.
I guess I can switch over to shorts now.
It's time. But no, for real, happy Memorial Day. And, we joke a little bit about summer being Memorial Day, but truth is, like, we appreciate what Memorial Day stands for.
A lot of people on the road, be careful.
That's it. So thank you all so much. And, again, speaking of Memorial Day, one last time, VFW, hot dogs, hamburgers, and noon or so is the memorial service.
Yep.
So at the VFW here in Boone. Check it out. All right, we're talking a little bit about, as we, the last little segment here, talking about just sort of the cost of building, right? And one of the things, again, that's such an issue is the unseen cost of whatever you're wanting, right? Again, I keep going back to that image where, hey, here is the picture of this from the magazine, and this is what I want. But there's so much that goes into that, and even today, right? Like as a homeowner, I mean, as a prospective homeowner, right? I come to you and I give you a plan. That plans that you see, even though it tells you measurements, and maybe it tells you, between that and your computer programs that you have, like maybe you know how many 2x6s and how many 2x8s you need and how many pieces of plywood. And so you can get some of that, even though we talked about a lot in there.
We have formulas for that.
Yeah.
That, the state issued us,
Yeah, but
there's a cost factor for framing.
I was going to say, there's so much that goes in, though, that you don't see in those plans. Right?
Correct. And that's what I said. The expectations of a guy handing you a plan and saying, price me a house out. But then all of a sudden, what do you want? Yeah. Then they look like a deer in the headlights because they hadn't thought about it.
And see, we hadn't even talked about plumbing, right? Let's talk about a bathroom for just a moment. If I want, I put a bathroom in a new house and I'm putting a new bathroom in, there's a lot of difference between some kind of, linoleum or something like that
tile
versus tile, right? And the sort of the trendy thing and then durable thing. A lot of people are new houses are going with the tile. Well, even tile, there's a difference in price of tile.
Correct.
And there's very cheap tile and there's very expensive tile.
Well, how many? I've had people say I'd like porcelain tile in my shower. You don't put porcelain tile in the shower.
Slip and fall.
Yeah, and it just. There again, you touched on something between tile. Mm-hmm. Do you want Formica tops? You want sky stone tops, or you want granite tops? Mm-hmm. See, that's all different.
Yeah, and what about the fixtures?
Correct.
Right now, we're talking about: do you want that? Do you want that polished brass? Do you want that? That rustic looking whatever, distressed brassy, whatever what is that called? I'm drawing a blank now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Bronze.
Yeah, the bronze. Thank you. Or do you just want
or nickel?
Do you just want that that cheapest one over there that you can find?
I will tell you this: as a homeowner, you want to buy your own fixtures. The plumber will install them.
Okay.
He will not warrant that fixture.
Okay, because he didn't.
He did not buy it to install it. And under state law, a contractor is to buy everything in that house. That way, everything in that house is warranted.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a little different. I want you to buy your own appliances.
Sure.
But make sure they fit your kitchen.
Well, I've never understood why and how appliances are part of a house. Like, I mean, I get it. They're a tool in the house. I mean, they're a vital piece of the house. But refrigerators and fridge refrigerators, stoves, and dishwashers, like, I don't know. It's sometimes I just think it's funny that it's like that's part of the building process. But like you said, it's got to fit. So
yeah, because we did a house, and the guy said, "I bought my appliances." I said, "Great," and he bought a refrigerator that was like 30 inches wide. Mm-hmm. And it was parked in the corner of a wall where the hot water heater was in the hall.
Oh, no.
All right. So that put a 2x2 angle, so they couldn't even open a door or a drawer beside the stove. And
well, I mean, I've been in situations where I've had to make sure, like, to get a pot out or pan out, you had to open the stove door so that the door of the cabinet would open up all the way because there wasn't enough clearance otherwise. So yeah, no, I get it.
We we also went through the COVID era where we actually couldn't get appliances for a year.
Yeah.
You had to get a scratch and dent. And the thing about it is the big box stores would lie to you. Oh, we'll have it here in 6 weeks.
And you'd be sitting there waiting 6 months.
And no, some guys, contractors on high end stuff, waited a year and a half for the appliances.
Right.
So here the contractor's done with the house, not the appliances. Another thing I heard that was real big was garage doors hard to get them, the specialty doors.
Interesting.
And but hard to mess up on appliances.
Yeah.
And but yes, you can. And I've heard people talk about these new high-end appliances.
I like a fancy appliance. I mean, there's nothing wrong. We talked about AI houses. I like it, but they cost a lot.
They do, and another thing too is there's circuit boards in them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing a lot of is now 3 years after that appliance is purchased, there's no parts for them.
Yep.
So a lot of homeowners are just left hanging
It's
to
just,
buy a new one.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's all, I mean, dishwashers anymore. You really don't even fix a dishwasher. You just get a new one. I mean, there's very little repair that happens. You know, it used to be what's the Maytag man, right?
Yep.
You know, that came to your house. They don't do that anymore.
Maytag man don't come around.
And that's, that's just it's just the way the industry's going.
He went away with the milkman.
Yep. So yeah. So well, hopefully that helps some people out today. Again, just you can't avoid this, this issue, but what you can do is you can go and be open-minded about it, but have the conversation, right?
Correct.
And I think that's probably the number one key to this, is that communication and that conversation, because you don't think of it all, in the moment. The homeowner doesn't always think about it, and when they're talking to you, so it's a continuing conversation throughout the bidding process. But we also, we could spend a whole nother show talking about change orders, and we won't get into that now. But that's, again, it's that communication. This is what I want. What is it going to take to get that? And so instead of saying, "Hey, Randy, what will it cost to build?" maybe you should start to say, "Okay, this is what I want. Now give me a ballpark figure," right? And
Right.
you're gonna get a lot closer. So anyway, hopefully that helps some people out.
Hopefully it does, and walk in the store and look.
Yep.
And remember, I go to other places. You can get the item number, but I look other places. I personally want to keep my money at home, and by what I mean by that is keep my money in Watauga County.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Well, yeah. Again, whole nother show. But thank you so much, and Randy, happy Memorial Day, man.
Happy Memorial to you and everybody out there.
That's it. Go by, get your hot dogs and hamburgers, say hello, and I guess until we come back next time, talk to some friends, tell them all about home construction. We appreciate it. Randy, take it easy, man. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to All About Home Construction on the podcast. We record this live every Saturday on AM 1450 and FM 96.5 WATA in Boone, North Carolina. You can become a supporter by supporting this with a small monthly donation, and that'll help sustain future episodes. You can do that for as little as 99 cents a month, and that'll go a long way to help our show. Do that, you get your name or your company name included in our advertisements. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.